poser.
Yeah.
If you listen to anything outside of punk, you're a poser.
Yeah.
Or if you're listening to the wrong punk, you're a fucking
Oh,
poser.
yeah.
So it was very
That
different.
is always happened. That's actually quite the same. Although there were a lot of queers, everyone wasn't queer. And also, I was thinking that there wasn't identity politics until AIDS came. You know, and then it was impossible not to be political and not to have your identity as queer. And it was just, you know, because it was a slaughter, genocide, really, you know. And actually, the political climate changed right then. The right wing was not in power. The Christian right was not in power before that.
Right.
And they came in. Ronald Reagan came in the early '80s, and you just watched the right come in, take over, sit down, take over, and it was frightening, you know, very much how it is now. But it was also because we had come from this free, you know, we were doing our thing, you know, we have no labels, we're nothing, to like, oh yeah, people are dying, you know, and it's my community, and it's also. And this Christian right who said nothing, absolutely nothing about AIDS for a good few years. There was like no political mainstream acknowledgement or help or move to help. So that's why organizations like ACT UP started, because they said, you're not going to listen, we're going to make you listen, you know. And that kind of activism, you know, spoke to me as coming from punk. You know, it seemed like there's a place for me here. If you want monsters, we're going to give you monsters, you know.
And did it feel back then as tumultuous and as you know, I don't know, as chaotic as these times? Did y'all feel like it was in the times during that kind of stuff, much like it, I think a lot of us might feel?
I think very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
It feels
I
like
got
it feels like everything's
PTSD
happening.
now from that, you know. It was very disheartening and very, you know, it was great to have something to rally around, you know, against, but I would rather not have to be against that. I'd rather not have to go to, you know, a million funerals. I'd rather not go to and have to, you know, disrupt everything, you know. I will do it because we have to do it, you know. There's no, you know, but so yeah, it was
Well,
the same.
you're getting your involvement in punk. The first time you had a guitar in your hand was because Lydia Lunch put it in your hand.
Yes.
That was amazing. Loved reading that.
Well, that was okay. Then going back to that whole thing is that I think it sounds like all of us were music fans before we were involved in any kind of organized thing like band or art or whatever, any one of the art forms. But so yeah, I was a music fan, and I was traveling to New York and I went to London.
That's an understatement. You were in like 20 different fan clubs.
I know. I ran the Ramones fan club.
You were literally big fan club, Mr.
Yeah.
Fan Club.
Yeah, so I was a music fanatic, and it was a way to be involved in music. I think a lot of what I'm thinking about punk was that everyone got involved, and it was the first time that the Ramones and Patti Smith came out. It was the first time that the band, or Blondie, you know, that the band would play, you would see them, and then they would walk into the audience after and start talking to people and say, hey, where do I go to get a record store or a burrito? Yeah, they would just like ask normal things, and it was astounding because before that, bands, rock stars were rock stars, and they were, maybe you would see them rushed out of the backstage door, you know, with sunglasses and bodyguards, and maybe just put a piece of paper and sign it, you know, and that was about it. That was it. They get the limousine, dark windows, and fly away, you know. But then suddenly, all these people in bands that you were like, I idolize them, to be like, wait, I'm talking to them. And this was absolutely revolutionary and brand new, you know. this kind of idea that the band fan thing was, you know, they weren't so untouchable.
Well, that's a similar experience I had to going to shows as a kid, as a youth, like seeing bands just selling their stuff at merch tables. And just saying hi and like, you know, connecting with them about what, you know, the show you just watched. And they'll even tell you about the different bands they're into. Then you want to go look it up and check that out there. Because if you love them in here, you're going to love this other shit that they're involved in as well, you know? So, yeah, I like that. Breaking that, what is it, the barrier, the fourth?
The wall.
The wall, right, between fan and musician and supporter musician as people. And so, getting back onto the theme, you know, I want to talk about like going analog. What does